All right, good morning, everybody. How are we today? Yay! Fun day today. Going to talk a little bit about technology. Everybody's favorite subject, right? Yeah? No? I get that part. So just quick little introductions, as most of you probably actually never have face-to-face contact with me, but my name is Brad Fisher. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of the entire KIS school group, so that means I work here, I work at the Bangkok campus, Kispire, which is another KIS entity, and then also our golf center at the Bangkok. So pretty much anything with a power button, a bell, a whistle, I try to make work for you guys on it. A little bit more about myself on it. I've been overseas or working for about 15 years in tech. I have a bachelor's degree in business, one in education, a minor in criminology, and then my master's was in computer security. So kind of a mixture of business, computing, and then education is my background. I do have 2 kids, which will help me. I'll give you some context on my little ones. Got an 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter, which is always amazing as a person who lives, eats, and breathes tech to see what your kids are doing. Can try some things on them to see, okay, can I restrict them? Can I not? What are they doing? And of course, they'll drive me nuts with it. And when I'm not at KIS, I'm an avid traveler. I'm all around the world most times. I love playing golf. Don't get to play as much as I used to. I'm a huge video gamer, which is going to give you some context today on some of the slides I talk about, particularly related to gaming. And then finally, I put pizza enthusiast because honestly, when I travel, it doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm trying pizza restaurants all over the world. I love pizza. Absolutely love it.
So favorite pizza restaurant? One quick question. Favorite restaurant?
In Thailand, I do not have one. But I've tried probably about 50 of them. I haven't found like that go-to, it was a bad day at work, I need to go to this particular spot. But I'm still looking, take any recommendations you have. So a little bit about today on it, and you may have gone to Justin's presentation a little bit ago where we were talking more about general just safety with kids where digital is talked about. My goal is not to scare you today. And I've found quite often with these workshops, they can be scary. I know that as a parent, I know that in delivering it. It's more about promoting parents versus kids mentalities. We're going to try to avoid doing that. So if you have friction with your kids about tech, I'll try to give you some advice. 15 years of doing this, I've seen a lot. What I do hope to help you out with is to understand from their perspective. And the kiddos today are way different from the kiddos that I saw 7, 8 years ago in tech. I don't know why, but I've noticed a huge shift after COVID on how they are with tech. Their generation's fundamentally changed. Give you some strategy on some parenting tools that I found that work from my own kiddos to just me being kind of behind the scenes and seeing incidents on tech every year. I probably have a dozen plus at each campus. It's just part of the job. It's been like that for my whole life. And then to partner how we and you can help support each other with tech, because the modern day tech is like driving a car. If you think about it, when vehicles came out, your kids are 16, 17, 18, they get their driver's permit, they start driving. It's a fast tool. It gets you there quicker. It's very, very powerful. It's the same as the modern day phone or laptop. It will make things easier for you, it'll make it faster, but it's also dangerous. It has repercussions. And so trying to help guide you through that is kind of a goal today. So we can shift from controlling their digital lives to kind of preparing them for the digital world. And the digital world is changing massively, especially with AI. So just a quick little background. You always see me kind of using random guides or photos. Does anyone know who this person is? One? Justin, you should know it, part of your job.
It says Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast? Yes, it does say Mr. Beast. So the kids anymore are way different from whenever I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was playing video games nonstop with tech. I was just looking at websites. Their whole fascination now in their social eco world is to watch other people on YouTube. It's like their modern day television, or to watch people on TikTok, or Facebook feed scrolls, or TikTok scrolls, these short little reels. They get obsessed with it. And so in their generation now, the reason the kids are so different is this is how they socialize. It's not a lot of face-to-face. It's a lot of, hey, did you see this particular reel? Did you see this particular video? Your favorite person that you like to follow, that you idolize. They aren't big celebrities. They're just YouTubers, TikTok people. And the reason why behind it is because to them, this is how they connect. This is how they belong. It's where this generation's really changed. Their belonging is now, did you see what happened at your particular show at 8 p.m. last night? It is, did you see my favorite person? He just posted a new video that just came out 2 minutes ago unexpectedly. It's how they identify, it's how they validate each other. Socially, their generation is connected in a far different way from probably when we are. There is still face-to-face conversations. I know a lot of families think like, hey, they don't talk to each other anymore. They do. This is just what they talk about. Observation-wise on it, they just like to see what people are doing. And so there's this little fear of missing out. Like, if you ever want to see a social experiment, take away your child's phone if you have a secondary student, or in my case, my kids, take away their video games. They're freaking out because they need to see what other people are doing, how they're socializing, how they're interacting. It is that social circle where this is what they bond over. And so essentially these have become kind of rabbit holes or social comparison. General changes between the kids is far different from what we have. And so right here, I have some brief little statistics for you. Our generation, probably you're on Facebook, Instagram is kind of your top two. But for teenagers, and this one is particularly if you have a secondary student, 90% of them are on YouTube. And if I would be willing to bet here at KIS, 100%. And I see the internet logs constantly on it. They're constantly watching on it. And then as you start to move over, you'll see TikTok with 63%, Instagram with 61%, Snapchat at 55%. This is what these kids are using every single day nonstop. I'm not talking about once a month. I mean every day, several times a day. This is how they socialize. This is their new social circle. It's like the MySpace or Facebooks of our generation. Similar context, but they're watching these reels nonstop. And the reason why they're doing this is because it's part of an interactive world. Gaming, for example, is a thing that a lot of kids do. For them, gaming is not just about, hey, I'm going to beat the level. They have this weird fascination with, they like watching other people play games and then talk about playing games. So actually one of the biggest internet logs I will see at our school, they'll watch a YouTube, they'll watch Twitch or another streaming platform of a kid. I'm playing a game, oh, I just died. And they're just giving kind of play-by-plays. It's like watching football or soccer, depending on where you're from in sports. The same analogy, you hear the play-by-play announcer going, hey, the ball's getting closer, it scores. That's what the kids are watching, only it's them watching video games. So the most popular platforms right now out there is something called Roblox. And I will highlight this to you as a parent. There are issues with it. It can be very much abused. It's actually blocked at our school. And that's not to say if you're using it for good reasons, it's bad. But there's a lot of unintended adult content that can come on because the kids can do things that are basically unfiltered and create perversive actions on it. The other one is Fortnite. Fortnite, if you got yourself a primary student, you would see a significant amount of usage just on it. It's very popular where people go and they compete. And Roblox and Fortnite, quite similar. Fortnite may be slightly for a younger audience than Roblox, just by hit usage I saw here before we removed it, or what I've seen actually in my own kids. But this is where the kids go. The second thing for you to know is there's something called Discord. Has anybody heard of Discord? This is like the gaming chat that the kids now use. So in our first slide, we talked about social media. These are where kids are going to do, hey, I'm on this particular game. Are you on this one? Okay, we're moving over. We're going to go to left block, right block. We're going to shoot this, move that. It's how they chat and communicate with each other on gaming. It's very popular on PC gaming, but it is also popular if you're on PlayStation and another person's on Xbox or something of that nature where it brings one ecosystem. So for the kids, most popular games, chances are at home, they're on it. Where they go to kind of communicate and talk to each other is actually on Discord on it. And the reason why it's so is it ties everything together regardless of platform. It creates private servers so the kids can create something where other kids that they can give a link to. It's kind of being like on a Zoom or a Google Meet. They all go into one particular spot. And it's used for talking, studying groups, or any hobbies. Actually, it's been used for hacking. It's been used for political circles around the world. It's basically its own little Zoom or Google Meet section. The biggest risk for these, if you got a kiddo and they got access to, for example, an Apple Store, they may have at some point downloaded a purchase pay-for-play game. Has anyone ever gotten burned by that? I did last year by my kids. They ran up to about a $200 US bill. Was not happy. So be mindful. One of the biggest things is that addiction to, hey, I gotta buy this because I gotta get freemium games, or I need to level up faster, or I need to get skins, which are basically like outfits. Like I got my little nerd outfit on today, and the next day they could be dressing as Darth Vader, and the next day they're Superman. So that's how they get you addicted. Another risk is contact with, people outside the world. Obviously, if you're on Roblox, you're on Minecraft, you aren't just playing with your friends. You can be playing with anyone, anywhere. And of course, that involves natural risk. It's no different from 10, 15 years ago. But because so much more of their generation uses it, and then it's so glorified on places such as YouTube or Instagram or Snapchat, where you see people just playing these games, there's a lot of contact from people. So which then means if you do that, private chats happen way, way more. And finally, of course, cyberbullying. Now, I mentioned earlier that I've seen changes in my own career pre-COVID, post-COVID. By far the biggest change I've seen is the amount of cyberbullying, or the amount of what I just call mean chats or conversations with kids has skyrocketed post-COVID. Particularly if you have an MYP student, or I'd say upper PYP, probably grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. It's night and day, way, 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 way more. And interestingly, when I've just gone to a tech conference with all the tech directors in the room, we're always complaining about they don't know how to reboot their computers and simple things like that. It's basically counseling for all of us techies. The biggest thing that came out that was 100%, and this is 30 people in the room from Southeast Asia running schools all around the world, is the middle schoolers have massively changed on the amount of tech usage they use, but also how they communicate with them. It's become kind of the modern day playground, and with that, there's a lot more frequent bullying or just generally mean conversations that happen on that one. And that is a big change from post-COVID to pre-COVID, we've all noticed. So I have an iceberg here, try to visualize on this one. For parents, when you see tech usage, you may think of these thoughts. They're wasting time. They're just, they're playing. They're doing mindless scrolling. That's all the kids kind of looking at those videos just one by one by one by one. They're addicted. You take that phone away, you'll see very quickly what happens. The secrecy. You walk by and they're instantly like this. And then they're ignoring family time. If you've ever tried to do a family dinner and they got a cell phone there, the chances are you're not getting much conversations out of them. That's what we see. But to give you context on what the kiddos see, which is way, way different from what it used to be. The kids, this is how they build and maintain their friendships. It's totally different. Like, this is how their social circles. It's talking about this in person. It's watching their favorite YouTube stars. It's watching their favorite gaming streamers. They're exploring their identity. So as the kids grow and they develop, they are, of course, being their own selves. This is how they actually start to learn who do they want to be, what their interests are. This is how they manage stress. It shouldn't surprise you. It's also how they manage boredom. I mean, kids and addiction to tech goes hand in hand. They're seeking privacy in their personal spaces. That is their separate spot. And you'll see that. Like, if I walk into a classroom, the kids may not know me well, but instantly, if there's tech usage, I can tell. I don't know. Didn't think I was that scary, but it's both campuses, I see that. It is that fear of being left out that I mentioned earlier. Johnny or Susie gets to do this. Why can't I do it? They got to see this particular stream. My mom and dad blocked me from this site, but they get to. That's a huge, huge one, because if you look around the room today, we have people from all over the world, different cultures, different parenting techniques. Fear of being left out, if there's something popular that one family gets to do that the other family doesn't get to do, that does cause stress within their social circles. And that sense of mastery or competency. So this one actually was 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I was playing games. I just bought a Nintendo Switch 2 and I went old school. I was playing old school Super Mario, beat it, felt very good about it. That sense of mastery still does exist today. They just talk about it in different ways, and it's a lot more visual because now they can record everything. So to start out for our session today, my own curiosity with you as parents is a quick table talk activity. So hopefully everybody's kind of at a table. And what we're going to do right here is just in your table, you'll see I have these nice little papers. And I'm going to be doing the same presentation at the Bangkok. So I'm going to take whatever you guys have at the end of today, as well as what at Bangkok, and try to summarize to understand our parent community better for moving forward. Introduce yourself. Tell us specifically at your table what your children's ages are, because that will impact kind of some of your discussion points. And then what I want you to do is, if we could have one volunteer from the table to be a scriber, that would basically be the person with the best handwriting possible. I am not good at handwriting, I'll fully admit that. And I want you guys just to talk amongst yourselves for about 8 minutes. Share one app, game, or digital trend that you find confusing or worrying, like you just don't understand it as a parent. You hear the word Roblox, you're like, what in the world? It just looks like little Legos. I don't understand why it's so fun. Why do you find it confusing? Why do you find it worrying? Talk about that a bit for it. And then share one particular house rule. And this is the one where you may see some big variances between the table of what it is or how you as a family handle tech. For example, my one rule with my family is no matter what at dinner time, no tech devices. So if I got my kids there, I got my wife there, I'm there, none of us do it. And I'll talk a little bit about why that's an important strategy to deal with on kids in a little bit, because the kids constantly are seeing and trying to idolize and mirror you as parents. They see you doing something, chances are they're going to want to do it. It's in their head subconsciously. So have those discussions for about 8 minutes, and then what I'm looking for you to do is just kind of write down on your table ages. So hey, I got an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old. See how many numbers I have on that. The app that worries you, and then also one house rule. And see if we have anything in common. If you have something in common, you can put it twice, or you can kind of put a little XX by it, or a number 2 or 3 or 4. And then we'll briefly come together for the final 2 minutes and just take some volunteers. I'll take that back to Bangkok, and then that will be something I'll be working on with Justin and his counterpart at the Rainwood or the Bangkok campus. Just try to see where our focal point is for parents moving forward. So with that, go ahead. You guys got yourself 8 minutes. Say hello to everybody and introduce yourself. Okay, guys, so hopefully you had some good discussions. Just a quick show of hands. Who has primary kids here? So that means grade 5 or below? Cool. All right. Who's got secondary kids? Just anybody got both primary and secondary in here? Good luck on that. All right. So the final thing on it, I'm not going to be able to comment on everything, but I'm just looking for common trends. So volunteers, was there any particular app at any table that just, hey, multiple people, whether it was a video game app or a social media app, that for you as a parent, you find it confusing or worrying? Any volunteers on that front, just to see if we have anything of commonality?
We mirrored what you said. We have one girl, 15 years old, and one boy, 12-year-old. And what you said is exactly what we experienced. The boy is fascinated by YouTube content, and the girl is using Snapchat, TikTok, and Instagram.
There is some gender differences on that one. I've seen it in logs for a long time. That doesn't surprise me at all. I mentioned actually to that table. Great. Any other ones? Common things, worries, apps that you just constantly see, you don't understand, don't even know what it means?
I'd say a worrying trend is the age in which kids are gaining access to TikTok and Instagram. Even though the age restrictions are limited, they're supposed to be 15 years old. Obviously, they can just put in a fake birthday and get right past it, and they end up getting access to a lot of dangerous and concerning content.
Fun fact about Thailand, our PDPA law for the age of consent is much higher than 13 for many of these platforms. It's actually 20 or 10 depending on how much private information is there. I know that as a PDPA officer. So while they may say 13, without the actual parent consent for a lot of these apps, they can't legally actually sign up for it. There's just no way to, as Justin mentioned, stop them here in Thailand. That's a challenge, and there's no honest answer for that, because there's nothing in the site that's going to stop them from changing their birth date on that. And if it says 13 on it, all they have to do is change their year number by just a bit, and they're on. Curious on this one, house family rules. And this is where you will actually see some differences, because we come from all over the world. We're an international school. There's different family rules from family to family, even if those families constantly are friends with each other. Any house rules you want to share you saw that was common? Or strategies you find that's working or not working?
Common house rules were in-app purchases, limitation of downloads, and limitation of time. So parent controls are in place.
Okay.
And supported using the Apple ecosystem, the controls that they implement natively with YouTube and so correctly.
We'll talk a little bit about that in one of my upcoming slides. I've actually got some goodies for you guys of free tools you can use depending on your platform, things you may or may not know work. But yeah, that's a great strategy, particularly for the younger ones. Keep remembering my analogy at the beginning. Tech is a lot like the modern day car. Obviously, as kids get older, they get more freedom, they get a little bit better at managing themselves, particularly if you got yourself, an upper primary student or that middle school student, they don't have the maturity a lot of the times to handle it on their own. So that helps keep them in the lane without going all off the rails on that. I'll give you guys an example of one of my house rules on it. We've tried very hard, my wife and I, of trying to get the kids where tech is more of a weekend reward rather than an everyday thing. That's not going too well. We've caught my son sneaking an iPad into his room late at night. My daughter at 3 a.m. just out in the living room on the laptop I found out 3 weeks ago, and I was like, what? It's a challenge because of that, hey, I don't want to miss out. First, that addiction to seeing that tech, the gizmos and gadgets, even though they both use tech totally different, boy to girl, even though similar age, it is a challenge. Anybody else before we move on?
I could just add to that, we try to do a similar, like not having personal devices during the week, but to add to that, if there is a screen, trying to make it like together as a family, so that it's a movie together or a show together, so that it's not that it's not there, but when it is, it's purposefully together.
Family bonding.
I just want to share a little
Yep.
bit from this table. We have an 8, 9, 10, and 11-year-old, all girls.
Oh my.
And there are family controls and expectations, and they don't use the Roblox, etc. But one thing they're concerned about is that their children might be excluded from conversations and chats with their peers because they don't engage in these platforms. So they don't know how to talk about chat with friends and everything.
It's a challenge. It's a huge challenge, and that's probably why you'd see at our schools, actually, we keep Google Chat. So even though some incidents may happen, if it happens at least on a school platform, we can respond to it. Some of these other ones, such as Discord or Messenger or Snapchat, when there are incidents, we can't, as a school, we can't help them, guide them, because they are learning and developing with it, but that's a challenge, and there's no perfect answer out for you on that one. All right, so what I'm going to do now that we've talked a little bit about challenges, kind of give you a little introduction into kind of what these kids are like, is we're going to move on, and I'm going to give you some tools. There's going to be some nice little barcodes on these. Hopefully they still work when I made them, and some realities of kind of what's currently going on. So imagine a three-legged stool, as you can see right here. These are what you need to be able to do stable technology with kids. The first was already mentioned as parents. Using filter settings and parent controls. This is the what. So absolutely, it's helpful. We do it as a school. You'd find every school kind of all around the world will do to some degree or some level of filtering and controls. We legally have to. At home, it's up to you as a parent on how much and what you want to do. And every family is different. And having those conversations with your kids is important. Which brings me to number 2, the why, communicating. Kids do better if you try to explain why. And I keep going back to that analogy of the car versus the tech device. They're very similar now on potential dangers. They can ruin lives, but they're very, very, very fast. They make you get to things quicker. Is an 11-year-old as mature as a 15-year-old on tech? No. I can absolutely tell you that most kids, no, it's not. And so trying to communicate to them, hey, look, you're just not old enough yet. As you get older, as you get more mature, you'll get more freedom, more responsibilities. Right now, here are the dangers. Here's why. This is why I don't want you to have tech at dinner. I want to talk to you in person, not like let's chat to each other while we're eating food. I've actually seen that before. We're going to talk together. Interesting parts on it. And then creating a safe space to talk about mistakes, because I'm absolutely guaranteeing you every kid makes mistakes with tech. They'll get very shy about it, but it's a learning process. As they get older, they get better. And adults make mistakes too with tech. My technicians are in the room. They can fully tell you, hey, sometimes adults make oopsies with tech all the time. Broken printers, going to websites that aren't working, accidentally breaking their computer. It happens. So talking about it without them feeling like they're being judged is really important because this is their social ecosystem. And then modeling the how. I mentioned earlier that the kids do pay attention to how much you use tech. They may not say anything, but they're understanding you're their role models. If they see you pulling out a phone nonstop at dinner, or at church, or driving a car while doing so, in their head, later on, they will probably try to replicate it. The better you use technology when they're around, the better they will see that modeling. And then it also helps a lot of more of a Why can you do it but I can't? Which, some kids, especially teenagers, will throw back at you. I did mention, are we present at dinner? Do we scroll and drive? Those are quite common things. You're not supposed to do it, but you do it around kids. They pay attention to that. Where we go wrong with this one is most families, parents, we think the tech tools are going to cover it, but it doesn't. Because without the other two tools, the modeling the good behavior and the communicating to the kids, they'll just see it as a restriction, which is probably why I'm so unpopular with the kids that when they see me, they're like this. Because they see the restriction, but they don't understand the why. They don't understand the legality. They don't understand that, hey, we have to protect you. It may be okay for you, but it's not okay for the person next to you, and we need to have that calm and safe space. So, free tools, and I got barcodes up here in case you need anyone. First, as a school, if you have a grade 5 or a grade 6 and above student, you get something called Securely Home for free. This is on all the kids' Mac devices. Do the kids like it? No. But for you as a parent, it allows you to be able to go in and see what websites they're looking at. You are able to block categories. For example, you don't want after school the kids to be on adult content. By default, yeah, if they go home, they can be on adult content. There's nothing to stop it. But you may say, hey, look, you're literally 12 years old. You're not mature enough for this. Think of that driver's permit. You're not ready for these type of websites. I'm going to block this category. You can set on and off times. So if you don't want your kids, like my child did, where they were at 3 a.m. on a laptop and my wife walks out and sees it, she's not too happy with the kid, you can set an on-off time so that the Mac won't work physically after a certain time. And you can receive notifications. You get like a weekly email, but you also can set up for you get pop notifications if Johnny or Susie try to go to this website or that site. This only works outside of school, outside of the school hours, I should say. So it'll work on a Saturday. It'll work on a Thursday at 5 p.m. It won't work at 8 a.m. during a school hour on a Thursday because then they're using our settings. Our settings are a lot strict. You may have more relaxed or may be more strict. Another thing that you guys can do on here is, and this one actually I'd plead you, we don't force it, but it makes my life way, 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 way easier. Standard user versus admin. BYOD, learning to handle your own Mac, is a great conception, but it's a lot more challenging for a middle schooler than it is for a DP student. Because at that middle school age, they are clicking, they got the shortest attention spans, they see, ooh, I'm gonna download this, ooh, I'm gonna download that. And every restriction I can put is pretty much web-based. I can't stop the kids if they want to download 100 different softwares, local gaming, or anything that can distract them. You put this as a standard user, you stop their ability to get around 90% of the distractions out there. If they want to download something, then I go back to the, okay, I see you want to play Roblox. Come talk to me. Tell me about it. Why do you want to do it? What's good about it? What's bad about it? It creates that open communication. So if they want to do it, they need you as an admin to enter the password. You'd make my life way, 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 way easier if you do this, but you don't have to. I do recommend it though. As they get older, maybe then they're ready for admin users. A lot of kids in middle school particularly struggle with this one. They spend most of their life trying to figure out how to get around blocks. If they're not an admin user, it really stops that. And so the little video on that one will show you how you can do it. I do recommend if you've got kids with a Mac computer, they have their profile account as a standard user, and then you have an admin account as an admin. So that way you're still controlling the computer, it is theirs. You got the admin, they're just a normal user. That stops them from installing software where they need your permission. It stops them from doing certain setting changes, which we'll talk about in a minute. Just gives you a greater degree of control.
Sorry, question.
Yep.
It sounds like it does overlap with the general Apple user controls. They don't have the parent group. I'm guessing a lot of people have got the parent group thing set up in Apple. This feels like it's overlapping with that.
Some overlap, but if they're an admin, they can kind of go in and undo it.
Okay,
So,
right. So standard user makes sense.
standard user, it runs side by side with some overlap, but between, if you're doing both, you're set. If you're doing one or the other, there's a lot of workarounds.
Not consciously done that, which is embarrassing.
Most kids actually have a full admin rights. So when we do the installations at the beginning of the year, or I get to incidents reported to me, I'd be willing to bet anything they're an admin user. I can't recall any standard user ever giving me a fuss in the past couple years of working here. Okay, so other things. Apple Family Sharing, that's what he was just talking about. This is fantastic. You put all of your family together on Apple accounts, you do proper sharing, then you can see share location, which is great because kids do lose devices quite often, a lot. So you can find where their phone has gone that you've bought them. You can find where their MacBook has gone on it. You can be able to approve or deny requests for apps. That's great because you don't want your kids to suddenly rack up a $200 bill. That'll help you out. You can manage screen time remotely. So if you got that standard user plus this, there's really not a lot of a workaround for them. So if you don't want them on a particular app or you don't want them on after a certain time, this will do so. And then of course, sharing subscriptions, it's cheaper for you. You know, if you got like an iCloud storage as a family, you can put all of your photos there. Be careful on your share settings though as a parent. You don't want to accidentally be sharing things to your kids, but you can have kids be able to put that on and kind of use that. So it's just a good ecosystem. If you're a Google family, you like your Android users, that's fine. They have their own version. Their particular one is called Google Family Link. Works in kind of the same manner where you can once again approve and deny and block things. You can set bedtimes and app limits, same as the Mac, and see device location. So it's competitors, just depends on what your ecosystem is. It does help out if your family is all using either all Android or all iOS for this one. Wouldn't be a tech presentation without a little bit of gaming. So for gaming, there's actually a ton of controls you can do on this. And I have done this with my particular kids. Do spending limits. Very, very, very important to stop your kids because chances are if you set up a PlayStation account, you put a credit card on there by default, they can be able to charge you. So this helps you out where you can approve that. You can set monthly budgets. You can do playtime restrictions. So for my kids on it, I think it was like 2 hours on weekends right now for their particular account. So you got 2 hours, have a blast. At the end of the 2 hours, you're off. And that's all part of our family rules. You can do content restriction. This one's actually really, really, really important. Most families don't realize that games have different content ratings. And most games may not be, if you see something, or M for mature, you probably don't want your 8 or 9-year-old doing that. That's actually meant for kids who are like 17 and above. So you can do content restrictions without you knowing as a parent, hey, is this a safe game or not? If it doesn't meet what you set, if you say, hey, only games that are under 13, and they try to do something that's rated above that, they can't play it. It just saves you the time and effort as a parent. Same thing with Xbox. They allow you to be able to manage a lot of these on your phone. So you have a simple phone app that you can do. Xbox has something called Xbox Family Settings. Nintendo's version is Nintendo Switch Parent Controls. I use PlayStation, which is basically a PlayStation manager for your family. It's very, very easy on my end. And then, of course, if your kids are doing classic video gaming on PCs, they can be able to do so with Steam. There's some barcodes there in case you want to see how to set it up for each parent. Once again, it's just a good recommendation to manage things that you probably don't see often to have a greater degree of control. But here's the reality on it, a little Tom and Jerry, and particularly to my job, it's cat and mouse. Every time I block something or do something, the kids will find a workaround. I did it to my tech directors when I was their age. It drove them nuts, got suspended several times on it. And the moment I'd be off, I'd be back trying to find a new loophole. And that's going to be the same thing for you with parents. There's just no easy around on it. Kids will use a combination of things. I mentioned probably admin access is the most common. If you take that away, it's really difficult for them to do a lot of this stuff, to get in trouble. And I really, really recommend that for primary or middle school students. VPNs, while they are safe, particularly if you're in certain parts of the world where like, hey, you want to watch YouTube but you can't, or particular websites, it's great. But VPNs naturally will get around certain parent restrictions. That's just what they're for. Ours here that we have are pretty good at stopping on it, but nothing is 100%. Cellular data, that's obviously a big one. I can put all the restrictions in the world if they're going through our network, but if they're doing 4G hotspotting or they're on a mobile phone, can't really do much about it. And while we do something to try to stop that with time-based access controls here at school, that secondary device or that 4G or the tablet has a 4G SIM card, there's not much we can do on their end. So just be mindful of that on 4G, 5G data. This used to be a more common one, but a lot of the restrictions out there have kind of fixed this. But it used to be common that you could change your time zone and that would change that. Once again, if they aren't in a min on the Mac, that's going to stop them. For iPads, it used to be glitches that kids could kind of get around on it. But a lot of the restrictions, particularly if you're using the Apple family controls, you can't really do that anymore. Deleting and reinstalling apps is common. Once again, if they're not in a min, this kind of stops you on the reinstalling part. But as end users, hey, I got a 2-hour time limit, I'm going to delete it and then re-add it back in because I know my parents' password to download the Apple Store, can potentially get around on it. And then, of course, there's massive amounts on YouTube every single month encouraging kids, hey, here's the latest update from Mac and here's how you get around on it. So once again, cat and mouse. You try to restrict, they get around on it. So without that communication, and without the why and the how and those discussions, this will be kind of your life if you try to do just restrictions alone. Communication is the only thing that will work. No block is 100%. I can tell you that in 15 years of doing this, no matter what I've done, there are always little mini Brads out there who find ways around what I create. It frustrates me. But if you're talking about it, you will have a better chance of succeeding because then they at least understand the why. They feel confident to talk to you if they make a mistake. It's not so much of a blame game. Your relationship is the best natural filter to deal with on kids because tech will be bypassed. I've mentioned that. And this is the only thing as they get older, they get wiser, they learn more controls that you can use to help prevent them from accidentally giving away their data or going on content that they shouldn't see or making mistakes. If you talk to them about it, when they do those mistakes, you have a better chance of making them understand why. Why was it good? Why was it not? Conversation starter, I mentioned on it. We know VPNs get around stuff. You may not want your child on a VPN. It will naturally get you to potentially naughty websites. Rather than telling them no, ask them to show you how it works. They're smart. They'll tell you how it works. They'll think like they're educating you. And then through that conversation, you can use your communication to say, but is this good? What if you go on this? What would happen if you do this? What about your data? We don't want you on these particular websites. If you do go on this and you bypass this, what's going to happen? Can you get in trouble for this? What's the legality? Just start to ask them. See what they know and what they don't. It will allow that open communication. Okay, so finally, I've talked a lot about gaming, social media, kind of where the kids are at, how they're getting around on it, and tools. My last little bit is AI, which every week is changing. In my entire career, I've never seen anything move as fast as this. I got nothing to compare it to. I mentioned earlier about talking to tech directors at a meeting a couple weeks ago. Outside of us all complaining about the differences in the post versus pre-COVID changes of kids, this is the second most. AI has changed the game massively. It's not just a chatbot. So if you think of AI, you're probably thinking ChatGPT just popped into your head, correct? Yes? It's now becoming an agent. And by an agent, that means it's no longer just asking AI, what can you do and why? It'll now literally do the whole thing for you. So kind of like Siri will tell you what to do something. I'm going to show you in a minute. They're now coming out with agents, which means ChatGPT just released it. Google will be coming, following suit, and other ones that if you say, hey, go make me a picture of this or log into my emails and respond to 10 emails and act like I'm there, it will do it. Just a simple prompt, it will actually now go to multiple websites, download software for you. It takes full control of your computer. So if you've ever watched the Terminator movies, we're getting closer and closer to Skynet with this one. It's not just give me an answer. It is now actually going to do the whole thing for you in multiple systems. It is also means with AI, and we'll talk about this in a minute, it's become more of a companion. I talk to ChatGPT and Google Gemini probably an hour to 2 hours a day. It's ridiculous. If you look at my conversation history, be like, hey, that's not good. I'll get frustrated and start yelling at it. I still think it gives me better answers when I do yell at it. It's become like a second companion. It's become the upgraded version of Siri. The kids are using it also as a companion. They don't fully understand it because we as adults don't fully understand it just because of how fast it's moving. I'm going to show you guys a quick little video. I don't even know if you're aware of this because this just dropped 2 weeks ago. ChatGPT just did this. This is it buying for you. It takes away all the photoshopping. Right, so that only dropped 2 weeks ago. It's not just a chat-based app anymore. It literally was doing everything in your browser, all actions. If you like and enjoy shopping, I know my wife absolutely loves it. It literally takes the fun away. She tells it what to do. It will literally go put it all in the shopping cart, find the best things. I saw another example of where it was actually on a student front. It asked, the student just prompted it to go to Canva, make an image, and then download it. It did the whole thing for it. Student didn't have to do anything outside of a simple prompt. It went into multiple websites, it logged it in, remembered the credentials, went, and the student is literally watching in real time as it's doing it. They could be having a cup of tea or whatever. That is where AI is moving to. And that's a huge challenge for you as parents to understand on it, and for us as educators, because that's where the workforce is going. That's where the real world is going. And ultimately, part of going to school is to prepare you for that next step, universities and jobs. And the private market is expecting these type of skill sets. They want to see you do as fast as possible, as accurate as possible, as quick as possible for productivity. It's challenging for educators because educators, we want you to learn how to do it yourself. We don't want you to cheat. Private market's not caring about cheating. They just want you to see it, get it done, make it fast, make it pretty. There's a clash right there. And for you as parents, I don't even know how to wrap my head around that one because it literally just did everything for me. You saw on shopping, on challenges. So for kids at age 10, 12, 14, 16, how do they understand this? It's a huge, huge change.
Right.
Yep.
Can you just explain to parents age limits for AI?
Yep. Age limits, as I mentioned earlier, remember me saying about how kids can't consent? For ChatGPT in Thailand, you can't consent until you are of an adult age. So it may say that you can do on 13, because in America you can. For Thailand, you can't because of our PDPA laws. Most AI prompts will say 13 because they have an American-based frontier on it. But without that parent consent, you can't. And the reason the parents need that consent is because sensitive information goes into AI bots. Kids will ask a lot of things, from their medical details to personal details, relationship details. They're using it as companions. And when they put that information in, that information is then stored on that particular company's website forever. We use here at Google Gemini, and Google Gemini is actually allowed all the way to the youngest of ages. And the reason why is because we control the data. We have certain abilities to allow so that if they put something in, it's not getting to the outside world, it's not going to other AI fronts. It's controlled by us, no different than if they type an email.
And Brent,
Yep.
can you say what grade we start with Gemini?
Technically, legally, it can be for any grade. Right now we're doing it for secondary students. Primary, not yet on that one, but secondary students are. So with all that, with how fast AI is moving, the kids are using this like their best friends. They're talking to AI prompts constantly. They're asking it relationship advice, medical advice, puberty advice, things that they aren't comfortable talking to you. They get non-judgmental on these ones. Snapchat and many other platforms are now creating AI within their platforms. So I've seen that ManageBack rolled out something with this, Snapchat's rolled out something with this. The popular ones that kids are using are Snapchat, Character AI, just let you build little characters, emoticons. ChatGPT, the kids, even though they can't legally use it at home, many of them are. That's why we're trying to restructure them to Gemini, where it's a more controlled, safe space. And the why? Well, it's 24/7. They can use it whenever they want. As I mentioned, it's non-judgmental. If you've ever tried one of these AI prompts and you put something in that's sensitive and you make a mistake, like I tried to do a gym plan on it, make me a gym plan, and I messed up on a day, went over my calorie limit. It's like, it's okay, it made you feel good. You'll get it tomorrow, keep on trying. Like it's like a personal coach. They like that. It's a lot easier than talking to an adult where they can see your facial reactions, and at times they can be like, oh, I messed up. The loneliness. If you talk to these prompts, they become so lifelike, they're so smart. It's like that permanent friend there that doesn't judge you, that's there whenever you want, doesn't yell at you, no yakking. It's the ultimate safe space. But it is a huge challenge because on these particular prompts, they may not always be accurate. The prompts and the algorithms have been trained to make it non-judgmental. And so when its responses Because of that, sometimes you do need that judgmental, or you need that response that says no. It doesn't like to actually say that. It likes to fluff up the answer in the nicest way possible. Teens are using right now to seek sensitive information. I know that because we have Gemini at secondary at both campuses. I do see some of the logs on there that kind of hit for potential alerts on, hey, grief or whatever it is. It will come up on that. Shocking statistic right now, 70% of teens are using it as a friend, an advisor, not just, hey, I'm going to get it from school, but like, this is my personal coach. That's from the United States. 42% of them are now using it for mental health or as a companion to escape real life. That means, hey, this is my person in the morning. Good morning, ChatGPT. How was your day today? They've gotten to that level. The documented risk on this one is it can give you more dangerous advice in a crisis that an adult would be way better to deal with on it, or it may fluff those answers in a way. The kids are not good at typing for AI prompts. That's a skill. Being able to articulate what you want to understand from AI. It takes time to develop that. And so depending on their prompt, which may be really badly worded or too direct, they're going to get an entirely different answer. And as they get older and they use AI more, the better they'll get at that. But if they put something short and quick in, they may get a totally different response and take that for the word. That emotional dependency, no different than the phones, no different than the social media circles. That AI has now becoming in a dependency. I haven't talked to my ChatGPT today. Well, how is it doing? Reinforcing negativity. Because it is a people pleaser on those responses, and you will see that if you ever start to yell at ChatGPT or Gemini or other prompts out there, it will really give you the nicest answer back. It doesn't try to say negative things. It doesn't try to make you feel bad. It's been kind of programmed that way. And so it does create that confirmation bias for it. Takeaway is AI is obviously powerful. And at every conference I've gone to that's tech-based, we'll always have people from the private industry saying, these are the skills we want today. We understand as a school you don't want plagiarism. We understand as a school you don't want cheating. We want the people to cheat and plagiarize and find everything as fast as possible. So there's a huge divergence between private and education. Private really wants you to master this as fast as you can. Be wizards with it. Do it in productivity. Education, we still want people to learn the theories behind it, the practicality. If you're, for example, programming, we want you to know what a variable is. We want you to know how to initialize something, whereas AI is doing it for you. That is a challenge. For you as parents, you now have a secondary parent kind of in the room within AI. The kids are going into it for conversations that would be better with you. So understanding, once again, and going back to that word, communication is key. And as educators, naturally, we are trying to teach these particular skills in secondary, how to do AI prompting, what is a good prompt, when to use it, when not to use it, to make them more well-rounded individuals. The biggest challenge that we have at schools is the same that you as parents. It is moving so fast that every month there's something new. That browser that dropped was 2 weeks ago. It was a talk of the world at a conference I was at. I just could not wrap my head around it. And immediately in my job, I'm thinking, well, shoot, in a couple weeks, I got a presentation coming up. We're going to talk about restrictions and stuff. How in the world do you restrict if the prompt of the AI engine does it all for you? It will get around everything. And sure enough, that leads to a whole host of different conversations, from privacy concerns to data security concerns. I don't even know as a tech director how I'm going to teach teachers, you can use this browser, but you can't do this because it'll give your data away. That's going to be a huge challenge. And every month is different. So for you as parents, be aware AI is a tool, just like that driver's license I keep coming back to, or all other digital. It makes things easier, it makes things faster, but it is powerful and there are risks. And so that open calm with your kids to get them more understanding of it, to get them to talk to you about it. Hey, mom and dad, I typed this in today to Gemini. It told me this response. Do you think it's right? Well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. Let's look at it. What did you say? Maybe. Let's try to look it up. Those are going to be the future challenges that we have as parents and as educators. So final takeaways. I've said communication, I think, about 24 times. It is your best filter. It's better than any tech tool because ultimately that relationship with your child is irreplaceable. It will make it better for you as a family member. They will always try to bypass, but at least with the communication, you can explain why. Tools are for training, not just for control. It's a lot better to do restrictions on a middle schooler than it is probably a DP2 student. Those restrictions for those middle schoolers, because they're not mature enough yet. You're helping them as they develop with the technology. And as the technology gets smarter, as you just saw with AI, Those guardrails will help you and your family. Stay curious is my final one. Don't be afraid of tech. It's here, it's not going away, the workforce is changing on it. Play, talk, learn together, ask together. If you're ever not sure, you can always email the Learning Tech department. We'll be happy to answer your questions for you as best as we can, but we obviously don't have all the answers as well. That curiosity does lead to open conversation and just a better dynamics with your family. And with that, I say thank you very much for coming out today. Hopefully you guys had a good presentation on it. And then we are recording this that we'll be able to share with parents at a later date. Thank you so much.